It is the disappearance day of Shripad Madhvacharya. Shripad Madhvacharya is one of our Sampradaya main acharyas, therefore we're called the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we got Lord Brahma, and in the modern day and age, Madhvacharya. And Gaudiya, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All right, so we're going to chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas before we start the class. Ye Anila Premadana Korana Prachu Ye Anila Premadana Korana Prachu Henu Prabhu Kochagela Charya Thakur Henu Prabhu Kochagela Charya Thakur Kahamoras Saruprupa Kahasanatan Kahamora Saruprupa Kahasanatan Kagadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kagadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamoravata Yuga Kakaviras Kahamorabhata Yuga Kakaviras Ekakane Kota Kela Gora Naturas Ekakale Kota Kela Gora Naturas Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashipo Pashane Kutivo Mata Analase Bo Goranga Guneranede Kotakele Abo Sesapa Sangira Sange Yokolo Vilas Sesapa Sangira Sange ye koilo vi las. Say sangana paya kande narutam mudas. Ye anila prema dana karuna pracho. Ye anila prema dana karuna pracho. Hey no bravo kota gela jaya takur tagela jaya takur. Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paravatkacharya, Ausateta, Satashi, Shiva is divine. Abhaya Chanana, the Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada, Iskan, founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrindikajaya Namacharya Shroila Stathur Parem say Oh Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidway Gadad Har Siva Siddhigor Bhakta Vrindikajaya Shishi Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shaimakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Kijaya Vrindavanam ki jai, Machuradam ki jai, Jagadasami ki jai, Manamare ki jai, Shivade Thalasi Devi ki jai, Savita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Budale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta, Samaniti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvadi Pachani, Nivasesha, Shunyavadi Paschatra Dejatarni. So we'll read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivas, Acharya God? Where is my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das, Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So today is the glorious disappearance day of Sripad Madhvacharya. So Omagana Timidanda Shah. Granjana Shalakya Chakshur and Meditam Yeda Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we're going to tell a story of his life here, and then maybe some of his teachings, okay? So, Madhvacharya appeared in this world in the common era. There's some controversy. Some people say 1199, some people say 1238. Common era, that means AC. Anyway, Christian era, or common era. There's different ways to express it depending on what ethnic group you're coming from, isn't it? Common era, Christian era. So anyway, so before he was born, there was a sign that indicated a great personality was going to be born. And what happened, there was, it's described in the biography, there was like an unintelligent man who became possessed by Krishna instead of a ghost. And he makes an announcement that the wind god's son will appear in Udupi. Now, we know that the wind god has 3 famous sons. So, Madhvacharya is one of those sons. And guess who is another son? Hanuman. And another son, Vrikodar. I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, and I was just, describing how Vrikodar blew his conch shell. Was it named Pondram, right? And I just like, the word Vrikodar means wolf belly. Someone who has unlimited capacity to eat. So the 3 sons of the wind god were actually very powerful. And Madhvacharya also ate a lot too. They have good appetite. And so, in order to have him as a son, his father and mother performed this payovrat for 12 years. That means they drank only milk for 12 years. Phew. And wow. So there's many stories of when he was young. One is that he was, there was a Rakshasa who possessed a man, and this Rakshasa spoke through the man and said, the only thing that will get rid of me from the possessing this man is if I have Madhvacharya, because Madhvacharya was known as Vasudeva at that point, as Vasudeva's feet on my head, and that's what happened, it cured it. But as I mentioned, he had a voracious appetite, even as a little baby. It's described that he was drinking his mother's milk every half hour. I guess his mother didn't get much opportunity to rest at night. Poor lady. And it came time, another interesting story about his voracious appetite. Prabhupada said, if you can work like an elephant, you can eat like an elephant. But if you're going to, I forget what other animal he gave, like a mouse, yeah. If you work like a mouse, you can eat like a mouse. So Prabhupada had no objection to someone eating a lot. In fact, we have my dear godbrother Jayananda, who loved prasadam. He would wake up in the middle of the night and eat halava, peanut butter halava, something that I couldn't even digest even when I was young. And he would work 24 hours a day. One time I was cooking with him in the kitchen, and it was before Rath Yatra or something, and it was like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, and I started, just like dizzy and everything like that. I said, I have to go. And he says, all right, you can go. I woke up the next morning. He's still in the kitchen cooking. It's very embarrassing for me. So anyway, during his anaprastha ceremony, that means when the baby gets his first grains, his mother was away doing something, I guess preparing for the ceremony. So his sister was there, so she looked around. She couldn't find any grains to feed him, and found there was a whole pile of horse grains there. I remember in New Vrindavan, that's how they used to feed us, with horse grains. Did you know that? Horse oats. And it wasn't even the oats. We had horse oat water. That was breakfast. So it was good and tasty. Anyway. On top of what?
Rice.
On top of rice, yeah. Water. Yeah, it was. But fortunately, I worked in the kitchen. Like in the prison, if you want to eat well, you work in the kitchen. So I pulled kitchen duty. Kitchen patrol, KP, kitchen patrol. And I got to eat very opulently. I would actually go into the DD garbage, where they were, the parts of the fruit, really nice mango pits and the skin of the mango. And I was in ecstasy. So I did not undergo austerities at New Vrindavan. So anyway, he ate 40 kilos of the horse grains. Now each kilo was 2.2 pounds, just to give you an idea.
That's 6 months of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
A spiritual body, you can do anything. And he was so strong that he would sometimes grab bulls' tails. Bulls, not cows. Krishna grabbed cows' tails and bulls, but little baby bulls, and he would ride all day long. So once upon a time, miracles. This is a famous miracle. There was a creditor, someone who was owed money by his father, and he came to the house, and he just sat outside of the house waiting for his money to be paid. And in those days, if you had a guest at your house and he didn't accept anything, that was like an insult. So he just sat there, I'm going to get my money. So little Vasudevi came out, and he thought, I'm going to pay the debt. And he brought some tamarind seeds, and he gave them to this particular person, and the tamarind seeds became gold. Another interesting story is that one time the parents were at a marriage, and Vasudeva wandered off, and Lord Vishnu escorted the baby back to the proper location. He had a photographic memory. He learned everything immediately, just hearing it once. And one time, several times, he corrected his father with his pronunciation, and also a reciter of the Puranas. At 5 years of age, he had his Upanayanam, which means you get your Brahman thread. Now it's interesting, I don't know if I should talk about it, I will anyway. There's the whole discussion that if someone doesn't have a Brahman thread, like ladies, they can't give someone Brahman initiation. But then, if we actually examine our history, there's many acharyas who didn't have a Brahman thread. Like Narottam Das Thakur didn't have a Brahman thread. And the sannyasis, when they took sannyas traditionally, guess what? You get rid of the Brahman thread. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he took sannyas, he got rid of the Brahman thread. So that whole argument that people make against women being able to initiate because they don't have a Brahman thread is not a that's my friend Basha Ghosh makes that argument. It's not a valid argument, because then you could say Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu couldn't initiate, Narottam Das Thakur couldn't initiate, because the Brahman thread is a symbol like that. It's like we have different symbols. For example, when I took sannyas, I got a danda, and I was promptly informed that the danda is an incarnation of, the Purusha avatars. And you should offer all your food to the danda. And when Prabhupada heard that, he said, this is ridiculous. So imagine, you put the danda on your altar. I still have the danda in my house. And reminds me of the good old days. And so then also, when he was 5 years old, he killed a demon named Maniman, who was in the snake body. He had 3 heads. And he killed this demon with his toe. And this demon was previously killed by Bhimsen. He was also able to jump like Hanuman. He was able to jump several kilometers when his mother called. And because he was so intelligent, he didn't spend any time studying. And his teacher said, "You're not studying." And he said, "But I know all the verses." So he said, the teacher, "Then tell me the verses," and recited them perfectly. And he also recited the future lessons. What a student. His teacher's son had a headache, and he cured the headache by blowing in the little boy's ear. So he had a guru, and his guru's name was Achyuta Preksha. And this Achyuta Preksha was previously a Mayavadi, and a similar story of Ramanujacharya. But anyway, this Achyuta Preksha, it's described, was previously a bee that was fed by Draupadi. At least that's what the biographies say. And this Achyuta Preksha, he had a very interesting preaching technique for his young disciples, or prospective disciples. Whenever there was a little child, he would always feed them sweets. Interesting. I should do that. I should go to the Gurukul and bring sweets every day. What do you think? Yeah, I should do that. Now that I'm reading this, oh my God, I haven't taken advantage of this opportunity to canvass more disciples. Anyway, so Achyuta Preksha, he fed him sweets from the time he was coming to the temple, little kid. And so he there's a whole story, I don't have it actually written here, that actually he wanted to take sannyasa at 9 years of age, and he actually did. But his parents objected to him taking sannyas. They said, "We don't have any other sons." And he said, "Well, if you have another son," and of course they were quite old, and usually old people aren't capable of having children. "If we have another son, do you give me permission?" And finally they had another son. He got permission at 9 years of old age. He took sannyas. And so there's some story that Achyuta Preksha was very attached to him. And because of that, he didn't give permission to go to the Ganges. So it's described that his initiated name was Purna Pragya. He brought the Ganges to Udupi, and it's described in the biography the Ganges comes every 12 years to Udupi. So he defeated different pandits. He established the proper understanding of the Bhagavad, and he was given the name by his guru, Ananda Tirtha, which meant he's the head of the math. So one day, a group of Jains came, and there's actually 2 stories, and Buddhists came at different times. They didn't come at the same time. And a similar story that they challenged him to a debate, and then they got so scared that they were going to get defeated that they ran away rather than show up the next day when the debate was scheduled. So, and he was also given the name Madhvacharya. Madhu means honey, nectar, and Ananda or bliss. Sometimes he would, even as an adult, he would eat a big meal when he was offered 200 plantains. Plantains are not bananas. They're cooking bananas, and they're a little hard to eat. If you cook them, they get softer, isn't it? But he ate 200 plantains, and he ate them all without a problem and digested them. Then he traveled to preach around India. First he went to the south, and he defeated the head of the Shankara Math. And this Vijay Shankara tried to harass him later by stealing his books. There's a whole story about that. As he was traveling, he came to a village where there was no water, and there was a lady who was suffering because she was pregnant and couldn't get any water to drink. And so what he did is he put his danda in the ground, and the water came out. Then he traveled to see Vyasadeva at Uttara Badari, which is actually the topmost aspect of Badrik Ashram. And his disciples, he had one disciple named Satya Tirtha, who tried to follow him. And as he was climbing the mountain, he waved his hand, and Satya Tirtha flew back to the base camp of the mountain. So he showed his Gita Bhashya, means the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And later on he composed the Brahma Sutra commentary, that means Vedanta Sutra commentary, and he analyzed in his commentary Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. Sambandha means basically the philosophy, the tattvas and their relationship with each other, Abhideya, the process of devotional service, and Prayojana, the goal of devotional service. And there's a little controversial literature which is called the Bhavishya Purana. Many people say that's a more modern literature, but anyway, in this literature it does say that Madhvacharya meets with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip, and he was told not to describe the Achincha Veda Veda Tattva, as the world was not ready. Also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this in the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. So, one time, as he was in Udupi, he was swimming in the ocean, and there was a ship there that was actually in danger, and he saved the ship by creating wind when he was swimming, because he's son of the wind god. And the ship captain was so, let's say, grateful. He said to Madhvacharya, "What do you want?" And Madhvacharya understood that the ships in those days, at least this particular ship, they use Gopi Chandan as ballast. I don't know if any of you know what ballast is. Ballast means that when you don't have a full cargo in the ship, you put it down in the hold, sometimes in the keel, if it's actually a sailboat. You know what a keel is? No. Keel is like this section, yeah, the keel. And then it keeps the boat stable. So he asked for Gopi Chandan. And he received this Gopi Chandan, and he put it in the river or the lake, and it dissolved, or the ocean. Actually, it should have been the ocean, or here it says lake. And it dissolved. And within that Gopi Chandan, there was the deity of Balakrishna. Wow. And that deity is still there today, worshipped by the followers of Madhvacharya in Udupi. He also worshipped the deities of Sita and Ram that were previously worshipped by Hanuman, his brother. There's a whole story about those deities. Prabhupada actually tells that story too. That once upon a time, the deities of Sita and Ram were being worshipped by Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, which is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. And these deities, this is before Lord Ram appeared, because Lord Ram's pastimes are Nitya Lila. So these deities were actually passed down in disciplic succession. Finally, Lord Ram got the deity, but he didn't want to worship his own deity. And he just put the deity in a closet. Ram was not like Krishna, who meditated on himself. He was more humble. So anyway, so he put him in a closet, and there was a Brahmin, Prabhupada tells the story, who was fasting until he could see Ram each day in a yoga. And Ram would sometimes go out, and the poor Brahmin had to fast. When Ram understood that, he gave the Brahman this deity. And this deity was later given to Hanuman, and the deity was later given to Sripad Madhvacharya. I also mentioned that Madhvacharya had immense strength. One time there was a famous wrestler who was challenging everybody, and Madhvacharya said to the wrestler that if you can even move one toe of mine, I will say that you defeated me. So this wrestler came up and all his muscles like bulging from his body. And he grabbed the leg. He couldn't move even a toe of Sripad Madhvacharya. So Madhvacharya did sacrifices. The interesting thing is, in those days, this is in his biography too, I thought it was quite interesting, they did not sacrifice animals. They actually made forms of animals with flour rather than actually sacrificing animals, because in Kali Yuga you can't do animal sacrifice. One time as he was traveling, he came across a king who was stopping all the travelers and engaging all the travelers and digging a well. And so he himself, he engaged the king in digging the well, because he and his followers dug the well along with the king, and they came across water. Another time, some thieves attacked him and his associates, so he gave them a bag of stones, and they fought with each other and killed each other over the bag of stones. Second time, he visited Srila Vyasadeva, and he was given instructions by Srila Vyasadeva to explain the Mahabharata. And he wrote his famous commentary on the Mahabharata, which I've read. It's called the Tatparya Nirnaya, which means the truth of the Mahabharata. And if anyone's read it, it's really beautiful, because it's written in many instances from the first-person perspective. First-person perspective means what? Like he was there. So that's very interesting. And in this commentary, he does say that most of the translations of the Mahabharata that we have nowadays are, he used the word corrupted, because there's things added, things taken away, and just things changed. And he also compiled or wrote his own Ramayana, or commentary on the Ramayana, like the Mahabharata. Then he took his disciples to Hastinapur, and he told stories that appeared to be from memory. In Hastinapur, actually he went to Kurukshetra, he found Bhima's club, and then reburied it after that point. And in Kurukshetra, he showed where everything occurred. In other words, he gave his disciples a tour of Kurukshetra and say, this is where Grandfather Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows. This is where Karna was killed. Can you imagine that? Whew, I would have loved to be there. Not at the Battle of Kurukshetra, obviously. One time, so many miracles. He sung to some seeds which grew into a tree immediately and bore fruits. So we mentioned the head of the Shankara Math head of the Shankara Math, wanted to argue with him. So one time he stole Madhvacharya's books because he thought, without books, then Madhvacharya's not going to know anything. So, just like if you took away my computer, I'd probably be brain dead. So, but Madhvacharya was not like that. He had a perfect memory. So he was able to defeat the Mayavadis. And later on, this king, Jaya Singha, that means victory lion. These kings had beautiful names. Recovered the books, and they were stolen by the Mayavadis. And Shripad Madhvacharya eventually left this world while speaking his commentary on the different Upanishads. Demigods showered flowers on him and covered him. And when the disciples took away the flowers, he was not there anymore. Amazing biography. So let's say little philosophy. Here, Baladev Vijabhushan in this Prameya Ratnavali explains the following points of the philosophy of Shripad Madhvacharya. I'm not going to read the Sanskrit. And this is, of course, generally these are things called the Dashamula. Of course, there's 9 points here. Dashamula means 10 points. Also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is famous for explaining his Dashamula in the Jaiva Dharma and other literatures. And ISKCON GBC is trying to come out with a Dashamula. I'm not sure that I accept that I accept the 10 points, but I may not accept that those 10 points are the most important. So anyway, well, that's another issue. So Shripad, I do accept Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Dashamula and Shripad Madhvacharya's Dashamula. So his points are: 1, Krishna, who is known as Hari, is the Supreme Lord, the Absolute. 2, that the Supreme Lord may be known through the Vedas. But of course, we understand, according to the Mahabharata itself, Shrutina Vivina. The Vedas are very multifarious. I mean, there's many aspects of the Vedas. As Krishna says in the Gita, Trigunya Vishaya Veda Nish Trigunya Pavarjana. Vedas mainly deal with the modes of nature. So you can know the Supreme Lord through the Vedas by taking shelter of someone who understands the Vedas. A Vedanta, someone who understands the conclusion of the Vedas. Number 3, the material world is real. It's real, but what's not real is our conception that it's eternal. That's the thing that's unreal, that we're thinking that I'll always be an American. I'll always be Bir Krishna Goswami. No, that's unreal. Nasato vijate bhavo. Nabhavo vijate sato. Ubayor api drishtavantas twaniyastat vatashvi. 4, the jivas or souls are different from the Supreme Lord. Of course, we have our Achincha Beta Tattva, which is like it's a little bit different understanding. It's different and the same simultaneously. And of course, that's borne out by Krishna saying, Mama Vangsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Madhvacharya was presenting something that was later on developed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the philosophy of the Krishna conscious movement, which is Achincha Beta Tattva. What? Dvaita, yeah, dualism. So, you always see Madhvacharya, with 2 like that. The dualism, extreme dualism. There are other things that we may not particularly agree with because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, but these are minor things. Like Madhvacharya considered, in his Tatparata Nirnaya, he considered the real hero of the Mahabharata to be Bhimsen. It's a really interesting book. I mean, if any of you get a chance to read it, it's really amazing book. And he considers the demigods to be the best devotees. I remember Gopi Pranadana Prabhu gave a whole exposition about this, the difference between us or our understanding in Madhvacharya's presentation. So, of course, the jivas or souls are different from the Supreme Lord, but one and different simultaneously. Same qualities, different quantity. And actually everything, in one sense, is one and different from Krishna. The example given, of course, sometimes we give the example of the shoes are one and different, or the car is one and different from the passenger. Anyway, the jivas are by nature servants of the Supreme Lord. Same thing. Jiveras Vrupohoinacha Krishnas. There are two categories of jivas, liberated and illusioned. Now, Madhvacharya also postulated there's some people who are so demoniac, that's just their nature. They will remain demoniac. Hate to be one of those. No, anyway. And of course, that can be borne out, if you take this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, that I put them in lower and lower species, never to approach me, in Bhagavad Gita. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, even the most demoniac jiva can be liberated and taken back to Godhead. So 7. Liberation means attaining the lotus feet of Krishna. That is entering into an eternal relationship of service to the Supreme Lord. Perfect. We accept the same thing. 8, pure devotional service is the cause of this relationship. Actually, it's interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So again, the 9th I have there, the truth may be known through the Vedas. But anyway, so the works of Madhvacharya, oh my God, they're quite lengthy. I don't have time to explain them all, but he wrote commentaries on the Vedas, the Rig Veda, all the different Vedic literatures, Upanishads. There's a whole list of the Upanishads that he wrote commentaries on, especially the 10 Upanishads, known as the Upanishad Prasthana. And some of these Upanishads are commented on by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. He wrote commentaries on the Puranas, on the Bhagavad Gita, also Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, Bhagavad Gita Tatparya Nirnaya, commentary on the Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, the Brahma Sutras, 4 different commentaries on the Brahma Sutras. I mean, it's just lengthy. I don't even have time, and then we have to end class. But it's, there's page after page of listing his works. Wrote something called the Tattva Granthas. Amazing. And so we are indebted to Sripad Madhvacharya. And some of the present followers of Madhvacharya known as Tattvavadis. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had some discussion with the Tattvavadis, and he defeated them. That's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because they tend to be more ritualistic than the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, on that happy note, time to greet the deities. Sripad Madhvacharya Ki Jai. Yes, it is a wonderful
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvantam Aravindanalayatasham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vitamaniya Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Going down. Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Samani Dinamande Namaste Saraswati Deve Korvani Vacha Negeni Sesha Shunuvare Matsya Jagunte Satarinde Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityananda Sri Advaita Ganana Sivasari Ramatu Brenda Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Nirana Brahmanityananda Dvaita Ganada Siva Sade Moratu Vrinda Krishna Kedana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jayat Harukanana Harukanana Rate Jayat Harukanana Harukanana Rate Hey, Radhe Nande Narate 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 Narate